What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of The Northman, the newest film from director Robert Eggers. Now, before we begin, if you like this video, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button as well as commenting below any videos you watch, including this one. So, The Northman is this new Robert Eggers film. It's an action film, it's a drama, it's a Robert Eggers film. He was paid $70 million to do this film. And it's a story of a young kid whose father is played by Ethan Hawke, and his brother ends up betraying him and killing him. So therefore, this young kid becomes Alexander Skarsgård and the most man perfect thing you could think of. And he goes on a revenge quest to take down his uncle who killed his father. And then so we have, of course, Nicole Kidman, who plays his mother. And then we have other characters, including Anya Taylor-Joy, who comes in as kind of a love interest, but more of I want to say, a witch in a lot of aspects. She kind of is in the same realm as she was in the witch when she starred in that film. And it basically becomes a revenge film that only Robert Eggers can do. So, it has the style, it has the substance, it has the weirdness and the kind of the offbeat nature of what he's known for if you've ever seen The Lighthouse or The Witch. So it's a film that, is much more, I would say, easy to watch, easy to understand, but still has those eccentricities of Robert Eggers as this guy, takes on this world and tries to basically revenge quest like Inigo Montoya, his father's, killer. It's safe to say I'm not a huge Robert Eggers fan. I really didn't understand or really get or really enjoyed The Witch, even though I thought it was a very beautiful film. I didn't really get on board with the dialect and the way the world represents itself. And The Lighthouse was just so obtuse and obscure and weird for my own taste, which is strange because I like a lot of obscure films, but it was just too much for me. I got through halfway through it and I was like, I can't do this. So I was not what you would say really motivated to want to see this film. I felt like it was going to be another film where it's going to be so obtuse and so outlandish and so annoying in what it's trying to do. But the trailers came out, they were fine. I tried to warn people that this is a Robert Eggers film. You're going to go in it with some expectations because it feels like an action film, but it's not going to be that. That said, I knew when I went into this film, I was either really going to hate it or I was going to be somewhat surprised by it. And the trailers, like I said, made it feel more relatable, more accessible, I guess you could say. And so after the reviews came out, I was going to have a chance to see this movie early. I got really sick, so I didn't see it until a week after I originally was going to see it. And the reviews came out, of course, in the early film festival, said it was really good, very visceral, very brutal. And then the people I talked to who went to see the early screening really enjoyed it. Well, some of them really enjoyed it, some really hated it because they were expecting an action film. And so I was like, okay, let's go see this film. And for my review, this film is effing awesome. It really is. This is a film that's very brutal, very visceral, is one of the most striking films I've seen in a long time. And is a film that is just, at its heart, is just a core revenge film that is directed by Robert Eggers. So the visuals and the visceral nature of the brutality that's happening it's not uncomfortable, but it's enough to just make you go, oh my God, what am I watching on screen? And there are things in this movie and there are images in this movie that are so striking, and just the kind of how they kind of warp your mind a little bit. It's an authenticity that only Robert Eggers can bring to the screen. And I couldn't believe how much I was enjoying this film. It's not a film that is perfect because there are some moments where it takes it from the first act to the second act, which I thought was a little clumsy, a little clunky in a lot of ways, but I still thought was interesting and set us up the narrative really well. But it's the moments where it shows the characters and it shows the characters' dynamic and their direction and how they are paced and how they are placed on the map to the eventual conclusion that this movie is just aces. This is a movie with a lot of things to say about, what it's like for betrayal and what it's like for individuals to be stuck in a situation. But it's a movie that really just knows how to twist the narrative into such a very interesting kind of way to play a story. And I just thought this movie was just an excellent way to do that. And on top of that, if you could have a chance before Doctor Strange comes out to see this in a Dolby Atmos theater, it is one of the most striking, one of the most interesting interesting experiences just based on the soundtrack and the music and the visual flair and the fidelity. There are points where there's like shots of a volcano or a mountain or whatever, and it's like hyper realistic, and it's just, there's some beautiful looking shots in this movie, and it just completely envelops you into the form and the factor of what this film is. And that's not to say if you don't see it on like a regular screen, you're not gonna enjoy it as much, but I think it just enhances the movie a lot. And it's one of my favorite movies this year. It really is. When a movie can kind of, from the moment go, just kind of take you into its rawness and just beat the heck out of you until you're into submission and you feel like you're in this world, it's just absolutely riveting stuff. And on top of that, the acting in this movie is flawless. You know, you have, of course, Alexander Skarsgård as the main person, the main revenge person. He's absolutely amazing. Like I said, he is a male specimen that is just, it makes you kind of jealous a little bit of how good he looks. But he's really good in this movie. He's really entertaining to watch. He's brutal. He's, you know, he's a guy you don't want to mess with. He is just absolutely riveting to watch. And then you have, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, but it's Claes, I think is his name. He is the main antagonist. He's the uncle. I absolutely loved his character in this movie. I thought it was a very interesting way to tell a story. This movie is very much a Hamlet-inspired story from William Shakespeare, where the uncle kills the brother or whatever. If that's, I think that's what I remember right. But anyways, he's really good in this movie. You really feel the force of nature that he is. You feel that he can take everything and anything that he wants, and he's a good kind of, you know, antagonist moment for the Alexander Skarsgård character. Nicole Kidman is always good. She has a small role in this movie, very, you know, good at what she does, has a really interesting speech halfway through the movie. And then you, of course, have Anya Taylor-Joy, who is absolutely fantastic as an actress. She has shown her worth ever since The Witch, and here is no different. She plays off Alexander Skarsgård's character really well, plays off the Claes character really well, and she has an interesting arc to the story where she comes in kind of like a sorceress that can do things with certain things, and then she just kind of comes in and plays, you know, her character as well as a love interest to, of course, you know, Alexander Skarsgård. And then on top of, like I said, everything, there are shots in this movie that are just amazing to watch. They're very visually striking. I keep starting at striking because, for instance, I think it's Björk comes in as one of the soothsayers or sayers in this movie, and I can't remember which one she plays, but it is really just kind of like the colors and the saturation and stuff like that is really interesting and really kind of authentic and interesting and weird. And like I said, they use a lot of Finnish language in this, I believe, Nordic language, and then it just really wraps around really well, you know, switching between the languages and stuff like that, and the vistas and all that good stuff. And like I said, Willem Dafoe's in this for a couple minutes, and he's, you know, Willem Dafoe, so you expect what you expect. But once again, just if you kind of break down this movie, the acting is really good. The shots, I think, of Iceland or wherever they filmed this movie are absolutely gorgeous. There are some shots that just like blow your mind and are breathtaking. And on top of like that, like I said earlier, the music and kind of the bombastic nature of the loud chorus and just how heart-pounding it is, it really just unsettles you, but also kind of keeps you in the story and the narrative, and that's what music does really well. So I give a lot of credit to Robert Eggers for taking the $70 million that he was offered for this film, really running with it and giving some true interesting flair of nature and cinematography and his only style that he's only known for doing, and it works. It really does. This is a movie that is not going to be for everyone, but it is definitely a movie I found really just kind of awe-inspiring to watch. So anyways, with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my take on The Northman. Really good. That's all I can give it at this point. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, have you seen The Northman? What did you think of it overall? Are you looking forward to it if you haven't seen it? All that good stuff. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.